A very good evening to you. Many thanks for joining us this evening on the broadcast right here on KUTV News at 9. A lot has been happening in our country this day and also across our borders, which we are about to inform you in a bit. But first, let's get the highlights. Three killed, one injured in motorcycle collision in Kirinyaga County. It's not over yet. Raila Odinga returns in the country with a bang, promising to announce his political stance in the coming days. Kilifi Governor Gideon Mungaro vows to conduct a crackdown on defaulters as the county launches aggressive compliance campaign. And stakeholders call for a ban on donkey sale and transportation in the country to curb illegal donkey slaughter.
This is KUTV Primetime News with Anyango, Sylvia.
Now that's right, our sign language interpreter tonight is Margaret Migwi. Remember, this broadcast is also coming to you live on our social media platforms, that is on X, rather on YouTube at KUTV News Kenya, and you can engage with us on X at KUTV_Kenya at Anyango Sylvia KE. We begin. Now, 3 young people lost their lives on the spot and one sustained serious injuries following a head-on collision between a motorcycle and a lorry at Gatugura along the Kutus-Kimunye Road in Gishugu, Kirinyaga County. According to Kirinyaga East Sub-County Police Commander Johnson Washira, the lorry, which was heading to Kutus from Kimunye, collided with the motorcycle carrying 4 underage passengers. Residents identified the 4 children as students from Kimunye Primary School hailing from Kairegi village in Kimunye.
Kwa sababu tumepoteza moja, wawili, wengi zaidi. We have lost one too many. Sio mara ya kwanza, sio mara ya pili, sio mara ya tatu. Na hii barabara tunahimiza ya kwamba kama ingewezekana hapa tuweze kuwekewa bumps so that the vehicles can slow down, especially when they are going down the trail here. At least we will be able to save a number of lives. So far, it is very unfortunate. We can only say sorry and very pole sana kwa wazazi ambao wamepoteza watoto. Sisi kama community, we shall do everything possible to make sure that we enlighten and make sure that
na tumepata ajali hii barabara yetu ya kutoka Kimunye kwenda Kutus, na hiyo ajali imehusisha vijana wadogo wa shule wenye walikuwa wakisafiri kwa pikipiki, na sasa ndipo wamekutana na lori wakagongana na hao vijana wakaweza kuaga dunia na wakatuacha. Hao vijana walikuwa wanatoka hii pande ya hii town kwa hapa chini kutoka Tugura wakienda Kimunye.
Now, shifting gears from that sad news this evening, Raila Odinga has vowed to announce his political stance in the Kenyan political sphere days after losing the AUC chairmanship race. And as our political reporter Baraka James now reports, Odinga, who spoke at the State House in Mombasa, where he took time to thank all who stood with him in the entire journey, said he is ready to offer himself for Kenya.
I feel very, very happy and delighted to be back to Kenya.
Days after losing the African Union Commission AUC chairmanship race,
so we are not bitter at all.
Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has boldly returned to the country, vowing to soon declare his next political move in the Kenyan political space.
I'm back home here. I'm going to meet with my friends, my supporters, and I'm going to consult widely what is going on forward, and in due course we are going to announce our way forward. So we'll give a way forward very, very shortly.
Speaking at State House in Mombasa, where he expressed gratitude to leaders in Kenya alike who stood with him in his race, Odinga stated that he is ready to offer himself to Kenya just as he had done for Africa.
We are available to help the continent of Africa, but more importantly, we are also available for Kenya. Hey, watch this space. I will be talking again.
However, Raila took the opportunity to express his thanks to President Ruto for his support in the AUC chairmanship bid, while at the same time reprimanding those who claimed that the president had spent 13 billion Kenya money for Odinga's campaigns.
I want to thank again my brother, younger brother, President William Ruto, who stood by me. He never asked me to run. I announced myself that I was going to run for this position of chair of African Union Commission.
As an administration that is now broad-based, there is every reason for us to accelerate the momentum for the delivery of the things that will transform our nation.
Kazi ilienda vizuri, hata kama hatukufika mahali tulikuwa tumetarajia kama taifa.
I've seen billions being said, quoted. Somebody is talking about 13 billion shillings spent on the Raila campaign. I don't know which world those guys live on, whether they know what a billion means. A billion shillings to do what? The money that was spent was the money that was necessary just to hire transport.
Raila Odinga's remarks after his loss in AUC appears to be similar to the sentiments of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua after his impeachment, with the two now eagerly awaited to announce their political stance.
Watch this space. I will be talking again.
James Baraka for KUTV.
Now, at the same time, President William Ruto and his Kenya Kwanza Brigade were today in Mombasa County on a development tour where they continue to laud the broad-based government, stating that it has lowered the political temperatures in Kenya. The move by President Ruto on merging with Raila Odinga is being seen as a plan to win the hearts of Odinga's supporters. Listen in.
The coastal region has for a long time sided with former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, and now with the recent merging of Kenya Kwanza government and Odinga, the region is expected to shift their support to President William Ruto, who was today in Mombasa for his development tours. The brotherhood showcased in the AUC chairmanship campaigns between the two has now been reflected as a long-term commitment, and according to President Ruto, the formation of the broad-based government was one way of showing the country is united.
Munajua mimi na Mheshimiwa Prime Minister Raila Odinga tulikubaliana tuunde serikali ya kuleta Wakenya wote pamoja. Hiyo serikali ya broad based ni serikali ya kuunganisha Wakenya, na mimi nimeamua ya kwamba siasa ya ukabila tutazika Kenya hii.
On the recent politics being surfaced by former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua on ousting of Chief Justice Martha Koome, leaders accompanying Ruto rubbished them and lauding him for garnering support from other regions which have never been in government.
Wa Kenya leo tunaambiwa mambo ya yule Chief Justice. Kwani Chief Justice ni Chief Justice wa Wameru na Waembo peke yake? The Chief Justice of Kenya is the Chief Justice of the whole of Kenya. Every tribe, every religion, every color depends on the judiciary. Do not malign an individual because of your personal interests.
Niseme, wakati wa handshake ile ya taifa la nyuma, hatukupewa wizara, hatukupewa ma-PS, lakini wakati wa Ruto tumepata mawizara, tumempata Ali Hassan Joho, tumepata John Bandi, tumepata Opiyo Wandayi, tumepata Anthony General, na sasa tutapata permanent secretary ambao wataekwa na serikali ya William Samoei Ruto.
Ruto, who has been criticized by his opposers for running a corrupt government, was not short of words where he promised to deliver on his mandate before his term comes to an end, highlighting that he will not be intimidated.
Hii ya broad based ndio serikali ambayo itahakikisha hamutabaguliwa tena, hamutawachwa nyuma tena, hamutakuwa nje tena. Sasa mtatembea kama Wakenya wengine. Tunakubaliana jameni? Tuendelee ama tuendelee? Mnasema tuendelee ama tuendelee? Hebu nione wanasema tuendelee. Basi
mimi nataka niwaulize, mungetaka Mheshimiwa Rais waendelee kufanya kazi na Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga? Waendelee wasiendelee?
Odinga, who has not yet given his political stand, is expected to decide which direction the Kenyan politics will take, for he has been vocal in questioning previous governments for not acting accordingly. Edward Nyamo, KUTV.
Now, this same time, still on politics, as former Prime Minister Raila Odinga prepares to share his next tips in politics, Suna West Member of Parliament Peter Masara and Awendo MP Walter Owino, who also chairs the Migori ODM branch, have called on Kenyans to remain patient and avoid listening to speculations made by political leaders. This report was brought to you by our very own Helen Kiplagat. Two ODM leaders, Walter Owino, Member of Parliament Suna West, and his counterpart from Awendo, Peter Masara, have urged Kenyans to remain patient as former Prime Minister Raila Odinga prepares to provide guidance on his political future.
So in an event that he doesn't get whatever he went for, he said he would come back and serve Kenyans in any other capacity. And I think even before Raila went for that position, to vie for that position, he was there. And he was, participating in so many things regarding the well-being of Kenyans.
Both speaking from different functions of giving back to the society, they expressed disappointment over individuals celebrating Odinga's perceived setbacks and emphasized that politicians' statements should not be misconstrued as ODM's official stance.
Been caught nullifying their previous, the order that they gave previously. So, something is being done that I'm not going to disclose, but at least you will get to hear that something has been done.
Echoing Owino's sentiments, Suna West Member of Parliament Peter Masara, speaking during the opening of administration block at Nyamome Mixed Secondary School, affirmed that Azimio remains vigilant in light of the Speaker's ruling. He further indicated that ODM leaders are committed to supporting the government on positive initiatives while working to rectify any missteps.
We need leaders who can make the right decision. Not that William Ruto is incapable, but even good leaders need people to support them. Even in the United States, where the democracy is matured, we have several people supporting the presidency at the Oval Office. So we don't want to say that Raila wants to get power through the back door. Raila himself, the name is power. Because any single president has never worked in Kenya without the support of the Odingas.
The statement from the two leaders reflect the ongoing commitment of ODM leaders to support positive government actions while addressing internal party issues and political speculation. This as Raila Odinga prepares to provide direction on his political future. Anyango, Sylvia, KUTV. Now that story was produced by our very own Helen Kiplagat. Now moving on, Kilifi County has set an ambitious revenue target of 2 billion shillings. This year, as it rolls out an intensive revenue awareness campaign, Governor Gideon Mung'aro has vowed to crack down on defaulters to boost the country's financial stability. Brenda Nyongesa with more.
Kilifi Governor Gideon Mung'aro has officially launched a week-long revenue sensitization campaign. The initiative aims to ensure businesses and investors comply with tax obligations, with the county setting a revenue target of 2 billion shillings this year.
We want to check the revenue that is paid paperless, number one. Yeah. Number two, this team will be doing different exercises. One of it also is to collect data on some properties which are probably not even recorded in the county or have not been paying their rates. Yeah? So we are saying that every place they will go, they will check every bill. Those who have defaulted on things or they'll be found that they are using fake papers, they'll go to court. The officers will have bonds, they will give you a bond and will appear in court.
According to the County Executive Committee member for Finance, Yaye Shosi, Kilifi has the potential to collect up to 4 billion shillings annually, and the ongoing digitization of the revenue system is expected to play a crucial role in achieving this target.
This year we are targeting to achieve 2 billion. But the reason why we are having this RRI, that's the Rapid Result Initiative, is to ensure that all officers go to the ground so that we are able to cover that gap and meet the set target of 2 billion. But to be honest, the potential for Kilifi is not even 2 billion. It is 4 billion. If we are all serious about this revenue collection, our true potential is 4 billion. We are now digitized, and that is why we want to give that e-service the full support. You see, that's the service provider. It's not the role of the service provider to enforce. Enforcement is our responsibility as the county government.
County officials will be conducting inspections across Kilifi to assess compliance and defaulters risk arrest and prosecution. Meanwhile, Education and ICT County Executive Committee member Felkin Kaingu has welcomed the initiative, stating that increased revenue will support critical programs, including education, which requires a budget of up to 1.6 billion shillings annually.
But as a department, I think I'm one department which is a big consumer of government resources. 2 billion, 1.5 billion is a lot of money, but we are saying if we can work together as a government, we can achieve these targets so that our programs can run without any hitches.
As the sensitization campaign continues, county residents and business owners will be keen to see how the initiative impacts service delivery and development projects. Brenda Nyongesa, KUTV.
Now that story by Brenda Nyongesa takes us to a very fast break on the broadcast tonight. Stay with us.
Access to knowledge, solution to unanswered questions.
Guidelines to pursuing your rights and repossessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more only on Law Matters.
Baada ya kutafuta kazi, tunaweza kuanzisha miradi yetu ambayo ingetusaidia kubadilisha maisha ya wazazi wetu.
Kwa vijana wenzangu, wengi hawana kazi, lakini ikiwa sisi wenyewe tutajiamini, tunaweza kujiajiri wenyewe.
Afrika kwa kweli tuna mahitaji ambayo ukiyasuluhisha unaweza kuathiri watu kwenye bara hili.
Bila uoga, watu huwa na uzalishaji zaidi, wanajawa na ujasiri, wanakuwa wabunifu na wanakuwa wenye maarifa.
Niliamua kuacha kazi. Hata kama sitafanikiwa, nitakuwa nimejaribu, nitakuwa najua haiwezekani.
Hakuna kitu cha ajabu hapa. Kila anayepata ufanisi hufanya kazi usiku na mchana.
Kitu kitakusukuma na kuwezesha kupata maarifa ambayo hukuwa nayo.
Tunajaribu kutengeneza kitu kitakachopita mipaka ya nchi hii.
Ikiwa unataka kubadilisha ulimwengu, anza na nyumbani.
You are watching KUTV Primetime News with Anyango, Sylvia.
Welcome back. Remember to keep engaging with us on our social media platforms. We are live on YouTube at KUTV News Kenya, and you can also engage with us on X at KUTV_Kenya at Anyango Sylvia KE. Now, there is a new call to ban the trade and transportation of donkeys in the country to save these animals from the risk of extinction. Stakeholders from the police department, civil society organization, and animal rights activists who met in Kithioko at the border of Machakos and Kitui counties have called for strict measures against donkey transportation due to rising cases of illegal slaughter. They claim that wealthy individuals secretly buy donkeys from villages, transport them and slaughter them in forest, then sell the meat illegally, while the skins are exported mainly to China. Cases of donkey slaughter have increased in Kitui, Embu and Machakos counties, leading to a surge in donkey prices. Stakeholders recommend community awareness campaigns on the importance of donkeys, especially in arid areas.
Kitui County is the main supplier of donkeys to this sub-county, the Kithioko market. We have agreed that we are going to stop the movement of donkeys, the slaughter of donkeys within Masinga and Migwani sub-county. Already we have discussed with our teams on the lower grounds, including the village managers, the chiefs and the assistant chiefs, and the National Police Service to organize on how we are going to stop it totally at the grassroots level.
Nani anapeana lessons? Nani anapeana hizi barua za kuuza nyama katika hizo butchery ambazo zinapatikana na hizo nyama? Ukienda Embu unasikuta saa hii nyama ziko zilipatikana hata jana. Ni nani sasa anakagua ili wananchi wakikura wasije wakaambukizwa magonjwa? Tutaitikia kamwe uchinjaji wa punda uendelee, wizi uendelee, hii uchinjaji unafanywa katika machaka uendelee huku.
The donkey slaughtering, the interest is the skin. Therefore we are saying when we allow the movement of donkeys from our county, they are ending up in bushes. And who are the beneficiaries? They are the people, they are cartels who are selling the skin either to the international market.
Now, through the Ministry of Social Safety and Directorate of Children Services, the government has initiated a comprehensive effort to reintegrate children in orphanages and similar facilities back to their families and communities. This initiative aims to provide psychological support and foster a sense of belonging. Speaking at the rollout of the Holistic and Systematic Care Reform Program in Gatundu North, Kiambu County, Shem Nyakutu, Secretary and Director of Children's Services, highlighted the program's goals of implementing the Children's Care Reform Strategy. The strategy prioritizes the reintegration of children living in institutions into family and community settings.
The Children's Act is clear that in the next 7 years, all children should be cared for by families and communities. So we are training these officers and we want them to implement this care reform strategy where children will be taken back to their families and communities to be cared for.
And I want to applaud the government of Kenya. They have put efforts to provide, to develop services like cash transfer that is given to parents who are taking care of needy children or parents who are taking care of orphan children. So we work alongside the government to support the effort that the government has already demonstrated.
But when it comes to the psychosocial, it is not adequate. If an institution has 100 children and about, say, 5 employees, how are you able to care fully, to show love, warmth to all these children when it's just 5 or less than 10 of you? So that's why we say children need to be transited systematically to their families and communities.
Now let's shift gears to news across our borders as US President Donald Trump reiterated the need to put an end to the war in Ukraine. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said he'd be willing to step down to achieve peace. VOA's Veronica Balderas Iglesias has the details.
Monday marks the third anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and the stakes to bring the conflict to an end are high, U.S. President Donald Trump stressed once more when addressing the Conservative Political Action Conference on Saturday.
But it's got to end. It's a horrible, horrible thing to watch. I'm dealing with President Zelensky. I'm dealing with President Putin.
Trump also referenced a deal in the works that would grant the U.S. rights to access Ukrainian natural resources in return for the military aid America has given to Kyiv to fight the war.
I want them to give us something for all of the money that we put up. So we're asking for rare earth and oil, anything we can get.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky should work with the Trump administration, especially with respect to economic cooperation, said Republican Representative Mike Lawler when interviewed Sunday on ABC's This Week show.
The United States has invested hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine. And when this war is finally over, Ukraine is going to need significant investment to rebuild.
During a forum in Kyiv on Sunday, President Zelensky expressed readiness to continue the dialogue with the U.S. as a partner and hinted he'd be willing to step aside for the sake of peace.
If to achieve peace you really need me to give up my post, I'm ready. I can trade it for NATO if there are such conditions.
Democratic Senator Jack Reed told ABC the U.S. should work closely with both the Russian and the Ukrainian leadership in the peace negotiations, but he anticipates some challenges ahead.
And my sense is that the recriminations by the Russians against Ukrainians after this settlement, if it happens, will be dire indeed, that they will deliberately hunt down and destroy everyone they think was an opponent of them.
Meanwhile, in Russia, President Vladimir Putin participated in ceremonies marking Defender of the Fatherland Day Sunday. He also handed out medals to soldiers fighting in Ukraine and pledged to keep supporting his troops with new and modern weapons and equipment. Verónica Valderas Iglesias, VOA News.
Now, in sports tonight, in a thrilling 5-on-5 boys final, St. John's Junior School Age Olympic JSS 16-13 at the Sabis International School Basketball Arena. Byron Anyango led St. John's, securing the win in a tight contest. In the girls' final, Olympic Junior School dominated St. John's JSS 25-3, controlling the game from start to finish. The two-day tournament featured 550 players from 40 teams. With the Nairobi edition concluded, the tournament moves to Mombasa on March 8th to 9th at Aga Khan Academy. Organizers praised the talent on display, emphasizing the role of sports in youth development.
The boys were geared up for this. They were psyched up for this. They were ready for this moment. They've been working for this. I can say, well, they executed whatever the coach was saying, and the efficiency levels were very high. That is why we emerged as champions.
20 boys, 20 girls. We identified these schools in partnership with the Ministry of Education. And those 40 schools, we anticipated about 480 players, and over 500 players came out. So we accommodated them because they were all from the 40 teams. The purpose of it is to get them to play games, and this leads to an identification of talent.
But tough, but my rules zilikuwa strict na maref hawakuwa neta kila kitu. Sasa ilibidi tucheze strong na tujiaminie. Sisi ni winners wa junior NBA. We are the champions. And I really feel great about it.
Now that marks the end of our broadcast this evening. Thank you so much for choosing KUTV. And just before we conclude, MC Eddie the DJ says he is locked. Stay tuned for more updates on our station, and tomorrow in the morning we'll be having a show on Biashara Tuesday, and the question we'll be asking, what next after KCSE? Is there hope or not? Now that will be our discussion tomorrow, very early in the morning, same time, same place, with yours truly, Anyango Sylvia. And this night, our sign language interpreter is Margaret Migwi. Have a good night.